Welcome to Mirahiku Southland in New Zealand's deep south, a province defined by its wilderness, beauty and abundance. This week, for a 69th year, the region plays host to the best road cycling talent from around New Zealand and the globe in the country's longest running and most prestigious road race. 96 riders from 16 teams will do battle across more than 860 kilometres of southern highway. Spanning fertile farmland, majestic fiordland, a punishing climb up Queenstown's Remarkables, the iconic Bluff Hill, all leading to a winner being crowned in Invercargill at the end of a week of drama. This is the 2025 SBS Bank Tour of Southland. The penultimate day of the tour was always going to be decided over the final kilometre and a half up Bluff Hill, and over the early stages the peloton was in no mood to let any breaks get away. New Zealand representative Nick Kirkazoo was active in the sprints to put himself at the top of the battle for the green jersey, but it took 2 hours of racing before a 3-man break finally got off the front. The major GC riders' teams controlled the tempo in the bunch, meaning the leader's margin was always in control, and as expected, the field came together at the foot of the final climb, setting up another two-way battle for the stage. Like the Remarkables climb 2 days before, Matthew Wilson threw everything he could at Tour leader Josh Burnett, pushing the defending champion to the limit, with Burnett claiming his first Bluff stage victory by half a wheel in the throw to the line, meaning the two-time champion Southlander has a real chance to add a third, taking a 19-second lead into the final day.
I was really hoping I could just try open a small gap on the steep part, making it a bit harder to come back, but Josh is just damn strong as well. I think we're pretty evenly matched, we've found out this week, and he's able to just hang on and then had that little bit extras come around me at the end. Really keen to at least get a stage win out of the tour, but I gave it a good nudge. Been about as close as it's ever been up Bluff, gave it all I had.
Yeah, no, it's been a big week with two guys crashing out. So yesterday we had a really good day controlling and getting the sprint points for Kirgy to go into green jersey, and hopefully we can finish that off today again. Yeah, she's a bit wet today, but yeah, same old. Get into it, go hard, and that's the story of today. So I look forward to it. Yeah, I do enjoy a good time trial, so I'll get out there and get after it and see what I can put out there today. Well, I think the likes of Glenn Haddon's always a key person that'll go good today, and then obviously the GC boys all go well in the TT. So yeah, they're the main guys to watch out for today.
We've got some interesting January conditions to deal with today. She's pretty wet out there, so we're going to have to think about the corners a little more than normal. Wind direction possibly picking up a little bit in the morning, so that we'll have that to sort of think into your pacing strategy. So yeah, hopefully I can lay down a good ride. We've been sort of lapping around at about 48k an hour average, so you're going to have to at least do that I think today and some more, because every year it's getting quicker, technology's getting better in the bikes, so yeah, we're going to have to find the best at my old age, so we'll see what we can do.
20 seconds will put me into the lead. It's been done before, so still optimistic with a good TT, I can get it done.
The penultimate stage in this year's SBS Bank Tour of Southland, and once again it is mouth-watering, with only 19 seconds separating the top two riders in this year's tour. The defending champion Josh Burnett up against Matt Wilson, but there is a lot of other contenders when it comes to this particular stage here, as we look to see the circuit in which these riders are going to take on board here of over 13 kilometres, making their way up through Gap Road, eventually up to the top pub in the main street of Winton, and back down to greet the crowd that has gathered here in atrocious conditions as the rain has arrived. The wind is picking up for the first time in the week-long racing here of the SBS Bank Tour of Southland. And the first man that we capture here is, of course, the defending champion of the stage. He's taken it out last year. That, of course, is Glenn Hayden, the man riding for the Copeland Cycling Tom racing team. This is a guy that was off the front for a considerable amount of time yesterday. What can he produce here today as he tries to bounce back and take on a discipline that he absolutely loves to do, the time trial. This is a man, of course, just in recent times taking out the New Zealand hour record, one of the fastest times in history across the world, as we've seen Glenn Hayden go through 15:57.47. The first rider here today to break the 16-minute margin here. That is impressive time considering these conditions here, these slippery conditions around this 13K circuit. These riders are going to have to really focus as they make their way around to ensure that they don't take the corners too hard into it. And Tom Sexton, one of the New Zealand elite men's teams pursuits, is going to take on the challenge here into the corners. He'll have the skill level from his track background to take it on. He's a Southlander. He'll well and truly know these roads very much indeed as he heads down the straights here. The Halberg finalist is making his way into the finish, and he'll do a time of 16:20.57. Again, very respectable considering the sort of conditions these riders are having to take on board. Logan Curry now, the next man that we get onto the pitches for ourselves here. This is the Open Country TES rider. He takes it cautiously into the corner. This is another man like Hayden who absolutely relishes these time trials. He's been on the world stage when it's come to the time trialing. He's won national titles. What sort of time was he going to produce? He was certainly one that was one of the favourites coming into it. 15:52.33. Logan Curry, outstanding effort here yet again. We've already mentioned it. You can see the conditions out here are challenging enough, but to be able to get into the 15-minute margin is a huge effort and very skillful from a lot of these riders. As our next man on the road starts to make his way down, he's not wearing the pink colours here. He's on the On Your Bike 1.5 metres, and that of course is Hollenby from Timaru. This young man has just got better and better every single day. He eases a bit into the corner here. He doesn't want to lose his place, and of course that is the battle going on. Wants to hold on to a classification jersey, but also in the top 10. As the man from Mid-South Canterbury comes through, a 16:05.14, that should do enough to keep himself well and truly in contention, not only for the pink, but also that top 10 finish. But here he is, folks, the man who yesterday put a lot of pressure on the man in the orange jersey, who now comes up onto the start line. Wilson disappearing off the front there. 1 minute intervals. That is what it is for these riders here as they go on for the race of truth. And it is Wilson down on the bars, again, typically on the traditional bikes. Some of them may have made a few adjustments, but no aero bars, no disc wheels, etc. permitted. So they're all on even Stevens, pretty much the bike in which they have raced on all week long. But he would have worked out the aerodynamics. The man that comes with a very good pedigree, not only on the road but in the mountain biking as well, where he has secured national titles. He finished second last year. He finished second on Remarkables this year again. He's finished only by inches yesterday up Bluff Hill into second place. He will be really wanting this. He would have been dreaming about it all night long. He needs it. He wants it, a stage. And here's our first shot of the two-time champion, Josh Burnett. He has flown around this circuit before. He knows it extremely well himself. He'll be trying to ensure he doesn't lose significant time to any of the challenges, particularly the man who is 1 minute up the road here, Wilson, as we see him getting down here, the man from Cambridge, powering into it. The orange skin suit, the indication here, of course, of the SBS Bank leader. As we said, he's won it twice. He comes into this final day with a lot of support, and Ollie Jones being one of them, and one of his teammates who took a tumble on the way across towards Te Anau a few days ago, giving them a call. He has lost 4 seconds on the road, giving them a clear indication. So he knows he came into the stage at 19 seconds advantage over the man out in front of him, potentially losing already at 4 seconds. Can Wilson do it? Can he get back some more time as Wilson goes on through? 15:48.15. That is outstanding, and I can tell you, folks, that is the second fastest time in history for this time trial. He moves on Bond, who was the man, of course, Hamish Bond, the rower, who was the second fastest time. Vink continues to still hold on to that record. But speaking of records, can this man do enough to secure himself a top placing and potentially the stage win as he goes to the line? And it is the local man at 15:57.23, so he has lost some time. That should round him off at about 10 seconds. This is going to be mouth-watering stuff going into the final stage stage this afternoon, but no doubt about today's winner, Matt Wilson. He takes out a fine victory indeed in absolutely challenging conditions here in Winton for the 13K time trial. Heading into the final stage of the SBS Bank Tour of Southland, it is a mere 10-second difference between Burnett and Wilson, while Daniel Whitehouse moves into third after a great time trial at 1 minute 38.
Folks, would you give it up for Matt Wilson?
Yeah, it feels good to finally come away with a stage win. Been close a couple times now, so yeah, it's good to get one over him. Definitely took the turns pretty easy, ran them quite wide, slowed down a lot, left a couple of seconds out there, but you're not going to win the tour on a corner, but you can definitely lose it. People have crashed in the TT before.
What do we expect this afternoon?
Yeah, just going to give it everything really. I've came to the tour before, I've came second before, I've got myself a stage win, so the only thing left to do is take orange, so give it all I got now.
The final stage of this year's SBS Bank Tour of Southland, and the weather has come out to play. A number of these riders have heard about these sort of conditions and they haven't experienced it all week, but it has certainly arrived here on this final day to add extra challenge to the battles that are going on for the classifications, Doug. 10 seconds separating the top two.
Yeah, all eyes on the tour leader Josh Burnett and his second place getter there, Matt Wilson. They are in for a battle royale here. How this is going to unravel is anyone's guess. These sorts of conditions do add an added layer of complexity though. You can see all the warm weather gear. They do get a wee bit more nervous, the bike races, when things get cold. It's not so much the road conditions, it's the overall temperature. A lot of these guys are very, very thin, 4 or 5% body fat, and they do suffer the cold.
We look to the map as they make their way out of Winton and eventually across towards Brown Spring Hills over the Rackerhook Hill, which is the only climb of the day for the King of the Mountains. But we know the tour leader has sewn that up already. The battle goes on for second and third before finishing eventually into Invercargill, 77 kilometres. And as per tradition, we have seen them go out of the blocks early in the stage here. You can never give up trying to win this tour, and that's what we're expecting to see here today.
It always amazes me that this SBS Bank Tour goes right down to the last wire in the last stage. This is renowned for splitting things up. This particular bit of road through Spring Hills and on the way through to Browns is really tough. You can see another echelon there. Some of the more experienced riders trying to set up another group instead of clinging to the inside of the road for grim death. But this is just treacherous. Tough day out.
86 of the original 96 riders make their way out of Winton, and it has absolutely exploded as per usual. And we look to try and pick up the colours of the top contenders. There is the two-time champion Josh Burnett. He has got Wilson heading down on the inside there for the advanced personnel. James McConachie there, he started things up again. He has been battling off the front all throughout the week and has instigated a break of around 15 odd riders.
It is a real specialty riding across wind, and a lot of these riders have raced in Belgium and Holland as part of their cycling careers. They know all about it, but this is a typical Belgian scene or a European scene, riders strung out all over the road into different echelons. This is as specialised as trying to climb a mountain. If you're not in that front group, you are really battling, and there's some desperation here with these riders trying to get further up.
Absolutely scrambling, and correct there, Doug. These riders are desperate to get themselves towards the front here, get themselves safely hidden away in a bunch. But at the moment, there are so many on the roads here. There is a lot of desperation, and some riders could be falling out of the general classification or losing out when it comes to various classifications here. But some of the key players have certainly made the cut. Another one in there, the Harcourt Sprint Ace jersey, Nick Kirkazoo. He's holding on to that at the moment, but we know we can see Keegan Hornblow floating around in that group as well. Expect a great battle between those two when there's up to a dozen sprints still available.
I think what we've got to understand here too is the fragility of this whole bike racing concept. You can see that last shot that we were looking at. One touch of wheels, one inattention, one moment where you're not focused, and you can go down, you can bring all the guys down behind you. But for Josh Burnett, he will be very, very aware that his position in this has got to be at the front. He's got to stay out of trouble, and he cannot afford to be too far back. This turn into Browns will cause another crosswind section for the riders to contend with, and the speeds they ride through in these crosswinds are super high, so the focus and attention from the riders has got to be absolutely on point.
As per usual around Browns, a great crowd gathering on the corner, but you can see they're all well wrapped up like the bike riders because the cool conditions here are making things very tough. These guys have now crashed on close on 900 kilometres here for the week, and I tell you what, the fatigue factor is really starting to play in.
An interesting shot here as they come out of Spring Hills. This bit of road is incredibly quick, but what we can see here is the advanced personnel riders. Matthew Wilson's teammates have been caught back from the split. The main group is up the road. These guys he is desperately in need of, and they need to rattle up and get to that front split quick because they are starting to really get dropped from the main field.
Potentially Will Heffernan, I think, might have been in that group there as well, just trying to make out a few of the faces. So there could be some guys here in desperation. And of course, as you said, Doug, they've got their team leader further up, and here's a great shot of him, number 21. And what a surprise. It is the defending champion on his wheel. These two have followed each other day in and day out. They are certainly pushing it right to the very last moment.
It was always going to come to these critical junctures with teams. Matthew Wilson's team here, the advanced personnel squad, as we saw, chasing back on, but Josh Burnett's squad, the PowerNet squad, are well represented here. He's well covered up, looks very comfortable. Coming up to this Rackhook hill climb, there will be a bit of a springboard for some of these riders to try and put their last bids in for an attack, but with 20 k's to go, there's still quite a number of them at the front.
So points up for grabs, as we suggested, for the Disco Hydraulics King of the Mountains. The last climb of the week for these riders that's classified in that. Josh Burnett, he secured that after yesterday into Bluff, as we now start to see them settle down a little bit after a very fast, very challenging start to the stage here. And we look to see the Dorman Axico at the front there. We see Marshall Irwood, Kian Watts, Cameron Beaumont moving up there in the I-Built team as a sprint starts to go off the front. Is it? No, it's an attack. Wilson going here and trying to push things and see what sort of reaction he will get. He's got Josh Haggerty getting onto his wheel here, and no doubt about it, the orange man has responded well.
Got to hand it to Matt Wilson. This man has really lain down every challenge that you can lay down, and Josh Burnett has had a big battle on his hands to keep up with this Matt Wilson. Full credit to Matt. He's given it absolutely everything, and he's not going to stop trying right to the last finish line. He has got this whole field strung out single file, single-handed, no teammates. Chapeau to him.
The traditionalists know it often into, isn't it? The last stage is a bit of procession into the finale, but not here on the SBS Bank Tour of Southland. These guys are going to give it absolute death. They want a stage victory, many of them there. Some of the teams are still licking their lips, trying to get that. They really would like it, as well as, of course, the GC contenders. They are marking each other all the time, and Wilson again hits out. The man with the mountain bike pedigree here is very strong as he goes and goes and goes again. George Jackson, the New Zealand representative, he gets himself onto the wheel. Josh Burnett, Josh Haggerty, they are going hell for leather here in the closing stages of this final stage.
What an effort, and these riders in behind really are putting everything they can in to hold Matt Wilson's wheel. Josh Burnett, you've got to give him credit too. Heady ride here, never out of position, looking after himself, isn't doing anything too crazy, and is making every opportunity to win this third edition in the SBS Bank Tour.
Once again, this leading group get to be a bit of an audience to see the battle that is going on. Some of them may well take full advantage of it, wait for the recovery to happen as they catch the front group, but they're not going to get much of a recovery because here's Wilson again into the gutter. This is great Southland Tour racing, and I know there's a lot of people around the country will be loving every moment of this as they go right up into the edge of the road. Now, he is doing that because of the way the direction of the wind is coming and making life as difficult as possible, giving every single rider no protection. In particular, he doesn't want the man in orange to be able to get an easy ride into the finish.
he is really putting everything in, and you can see the carnage behind him and the kind of effect that attack that Matt Wilson's put into this field. He needs a wee bit more of a crosswind to swing round to gain his advantage, but that was a huge effort.
So the rider's getting very close to the conclusion of 77 kilometres here after a massive week of racing. And no surprise at Myris Bush here, we see the Power Net riders on the front here, along with Creation Signs. Hornblower, of course, he is a man still challenging against Kirkzu on those sprint points. You can see Logan Curry with the red helmet as they'll turn right into Mill Road in the closing 20k of this stage here. They stretch themselves on out, a few of them just not quite getting the lines right into the corner there. But Doug, we're getting down to closing kilometres. Can Wilson take extra time out of the tour leader?
He has given it every shot, and you would never say die with this guy, Wilson. He is leaving it late though, and the kind of advantage that he's going to need a stage win. He's going to have Josh not get any sprint bonus seconds in the final. But I think the way that Josh is riding here, and this group of three, it looks like has just slipped away off the road. They got round that corner quite nicely. That will nullify any gains in the time bonuses in the stage finish, won't it?
The rain is bouncing off the roads here of Southland. Absolutely atrocious conditions here, but three riders are taking full advantage of it. The man in the red helmet, the Open Country TS Logan Curry. He is driving things off the front here. Keegan Hornblower has got onto his wheel, and the man behind him is the other one who is challenging to try and hold on to that green jersey, the Harcourt Sprint Ace. So we have two men in green here, both from the same team. Hornblower has got a bit of a battle to go on here as they'll head into Bainfield Road in a few moments' time.
Getting around these corners like these lead riders are, as opposed to the peloton, they can go a lot quicker around some of the slippery stuff. The peloton tend to really become cautious going around some of these painted white line corners. So this is a distinct advantage for this three. And Nick Kurgazu, man, he has tried this all week. These three riders we've seen contesting these sprint points from day one. You've got to give these guys credit. This is tough conditions. It's freezing cold. It's the kind of thing you'd normally get hypothermia in, and these guys are setting a cracking pace and really are looking like they're going to stay away for the stage win if they can carry on at this speed.
Now, interesting for you to note here with the team tactics, Nick will drift back. He'll go to the rear of the group because he's got his teammate here who is doing a huge effort for him, Logan Curry. He knows what his job is here. He is to keep the pace up and potentially drag them through to each of the sprints, and there's a number of them on the back straight and front straight. But what a great shot there. You can see the peloton with this new circuit introduced this year due to the weather events there with Queen's Park getting some damage. These riders can now see each other on either side as the bell rings. 4.2 kilometres remaining here in the Invercargill for this final stage of the 69th edition.
What a spectacle, seeing these riders going around these corners like this. We just don't normally see this, as you've said, Julian, with the older course. This new circuit here is an absolute ripper because you've got the peloton can see the breakaway and vice versa. The public can see the whole race. It's just a fantastic spectacle, and what a way to finish the SBS Bank Tour of Southland. Conditions are rough, I know, but it just makes the event, doesn't it? So iconic.
And the residents on the circuit are absolutely ecstatic about having the racing on their doorstep, as we saw on the early stages of the tour, sitting out there on their couches. Today, Doug, I'd say they won't be out there enjoying it too much there with the way in which this rain is absolutely coming down in bucket loads for them. But a man who doesn't care about the conditions here, he's in fact relishing every moment of it. It's Wilson, who has gone onto the front again. They can see those three up in front. He's not too concerned by them, but of course there are time bonuses, so if he can pick those up, we could see a different GC.
Yeah, every time Matt Wilson goes, there's a Powernet rider pouncing straight on him. They are not giving this man any leeway. They are very, very wary of the kind of gas that he's got. The leaders coming up around this top corner will be very, very cautious. This is a really quite critical point as they go around with the white painted lines. All the bicycles now have disc brakes on them, so the braking systems are a lot more effective than they perhaps used to be with the rim brakes, but the peloton are breathing down their necks. This is going to go right to the wire here.
Heading under 2 kilometres to go, and you can see Kirkazoo. He has the opportunity to have a look over the shoulder. 12 seconds. 12 seconds in the closing stages here. Can our 3 escapees take out the stage, or will we see someone burst out of that peloton and take the victory?
Nick is playing it very well. His teammate at the front driving the pace. Back in the main field here, this is really heating up. Josh Burnett will be really, really cautious of getting all the way to the finish here without having any calamities, mix-ups or a crash. But Logan Curry has basically done a turn there for well over a kilometre. He has buried himself here for Nick Kirkazoo, his teammate from the Transport Engineering team, Open Country. These guys have really set the pace in this tour this year, and they are going to stay away, I think, from that main peloton. What a ride.
They swing into Bainfield Road, the finishing straight of this year's tour. The peloton breathing down their necks here in the closing metres of the stage, the closing metres of the 69th edition, as the 3 out in front line themselves up. And the New Zealand representative, he gives it a bit of a boost. He's a 3-time champion of the green jersey, a stage winner in the final stage. Is he going to add another one? Nick Kirkazoo, he extends his lead over Keegan Hornblow, and Nick Kirkazoo of Southland, he takes the victory. Hornblow will be second across the line. Logan Curry, I think, would have just held on for third place, but there in the bunch, safely hidden away, is the Southlander, the 2-time champion, Josh Burnett.
Now 3-time champion, and I would suggest it is going to take a long, long time for another Southlander and a Southland rider to achieve what this young man has achieved in the last 3 or 4 years in the SBS Bank Tour of Southland.
Local man Josh Burnett adds his name to an illustrious list of former winners. A 3-time champion. He takes it out by a mere 10 seconds from Wilson and Whitehouse at 1:38. Nick Kirkazoo, also of Southland, holding on to the Sprint Ace jersey over Keegan Hornblow and Kian Watts. Burnett, after a big effort yesterday at Bluff, takes out the Jesco Hydraulics King of the Mountains. Well, Mid-South Canterbury's Noah Hollenby, an outstanding week racing, takes out the Henderson Construction Under-23. Australian Ben Diable takes out victory in the Geraldine Cheese silver jersey by 6:51 over Hayden. James Cranage awarded the Macleay Jewelers most combative for the stage and the overall most combative for the tour. Finishing strong on the final stage, Macaulay Ford Goodtech secured the Wednesday Cycles team classification from On Your Bike 1.5 and Creation Signs Mitre Q New Zealand Cycling Project.
Yeah, it's something I haven't thought about yet. Obviously, I'm pretty cold right now, and maybe to everyone else it didn't look like too much happened in regard to the GC, but I know just how hard these last 2 stages can be, so now I can finally enjoy it a little bit. It's pretty amazing, the community down here, and it just makes you realise what being a Southlander is and how special it is, because there's not many other regions that would get behind cyclists and other people around, so I'm just incredibly grateful for all the messages and all the signs and everything this week.
2, 1, go, we go. Folks, put your hands together again for the 69th edition SBS Bank Tour of Southland. Josh Burnett taking out the win.
Follow the action from this historic race with live race updates, full results and pictures at tourofsouthland.com.